Good morning and welcome to Ways Breakfast, your youth-driven conversation table where pressing realities meet thoughtful reflection. It's a calm Thursday morning, but the weight of the nation's silence on certain issue is anything but light. And today we take a hard look at a painful truth, one that keeps resurfacing in our headlines and in our hearts: the recurring killings in Benue State. We've titled this one A Leap into the Future, but what future exists where life is constantly under threat? And in the words of Desmond Tutu, he says, if you're neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. And with that, we begin the conversation for this morning. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenka, and I've been joined by God's Beauty Israel. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, at least with the tone and my energy this morning, you can already guess. I mean, there's a bit of, I don't want to use the word overwhelmed, but I have never had to revisit this kind of situation for a week straight. And not because, I'm not trying to say I'm bored of it, but because it's still pressing and we still have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's really, I want to use the word crazy, pardon my French, but at this point, it's not so funny. I mean, from Monday, we've had to discuss this. Yesterday, we spoke about media escalation to certain crises and, the role that celebrities, influencers, and the media plays. And I feel a lot of stress, emotional stress, honestly, that I have to talk about this, because at the end of the day, I love this quote from Desmond Tutu. I saw it and I said I'm going to quote it today. It says, if you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. We live in a world where people feel, if it doesn't concern me as much, my family and I are safe, I'm good. Everybody should deal with your issues themselves. And I don't want to take that stance, because it takes away every form of humanity that we should have and turns us to inhumane people. So generally, this Thursday is not the regular Thursday vibe I would always have, coming on the table, feeling all jubby and yay, what are we talking about today? There are other pressing issues, across, but this one almost feels like we can't stop talking about it. Let's still make some noise about it. Let's still even honor the people that their lives have been lost because of this kind of crisis. We can't just sweep it under the carpet. This is not just one fraudulent activity or one EFCC arrest. This is lives, Nigerian lives, that have been lost in a nation that, pledged, in that sense, to protect them. And we keep saying things like this. So today is one of such discussions where, the atmosphere, the mood, everything is just like this. But at the end of the day, we hope to make significant progress with our interactions and our conversations. And our viewers as well, please let us know how you've been feeling with the recent news so far. What has been your thoughts recently? Just let us know on our YouTube channel, and of course, we'll talk about it here. So, God's greeting, away from me, how do you feel this morning?
I think we are both on the same energy to be honest. I'm actually not feeling, bubbly or excited in that sense. I'm just calm. I really cannot even say how I'm feeling. That's how much everywhere my emotions are right now. Yeah.
I hope it gets better, honestly.
I thank you, Real.
All right, viewers, thank you for tuning in again this Thursday morning. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we'll look through the papers this morning. We have the international paper and the local paper, of course. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back, our viewers, and thank you for sticking with us. What are your thoughts on this historical milestone that has been displayed? We'd love to hear your insight and your perspective as well. Remember, you're the main ingredient in our conversation this morning, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 07025007749 or 07014242420. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, join the 30K subscribers plus at Official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your Go TV, and do not miss this for anything in the world. This moment, we're going to take some time to review the papers this morning. We have the Daily Trust and the international papers. So God's beauty, lead us.
Straight into the international newspaper, we have China Daily newspaper today. At the top left, we have Premier Platform. Top right, we have distinctive flavors. Then at the main center top, we have Summit Enhances Regional Cooperation. Then at the top right column, we have Nation Set to Further Advance Financial Opening Up. Then bottom left, we have Chinese citizens move to safety amid Mid-East conflict. Then at the bottom right, which is the last headline on the newspaper, we have Sympathetic Humanoids at Vanguard of Robot Solution to Elderly Care. So I'll be taking two headlines, right? Those are what catches my interest. So the first one is Nation Set to Further Advance Financial Opening Up. Now, China is preparing to take further steps in opening up its financial sector to global market. According to statement from regulatory officials, the country would expand access to foreign institutions and investment, reduce restrictions, and enhance transparency in capital markets. Now, the key goal is, one, to encourage more foreign investment in banking, insurance, and security, supporting innovation while maintaining financial stability. Now, strengthening regulatory framework to protect investor rights. And last one is aligning domestic markets with international standards. Now, the move reflects China's continued strategy to integrate more deeply with the global economy, particularly as it seeks to boost confidence among international partners and position itself as a financial hub in Asia. So, I mean, tell me what other country is intentional about ensuring that they are progressing than China. I mean, I used to think that it's just going on in the United States, but honestly speaking, there's one other story that I will take, seconds from now, but honestly speaking, I feel like there's a lot of intentionality when it comes to, the president bringing out certain policies. Like, it's one thing to say that, it's time for us to make money. It's another thing to say, okay, you know what, let's look for how we can ensure that, first off, we have investors, foreign investors come to China to invest. That's one. Now, also putting out, telling them that while you are here to invest, we have certain rights that, to prioritize you being here. I mean, they're just ensuring that they are also safe. Where it's one, like I said, it's one thing to say that you want to make money. It's another thing for you to be ensure that even these people come into your space, you are giving them that, what's the word now? Just you proving to them that, see, if you come and invest in China, you just be assured that you'll be safe. Your money is all put together. You're not going to hear stories and all. And like I said, it's. Tell me.
They can be bold to make such claims because they have many things in their country that are probably working well.
I like that.
For example, security. So, I mean,
but like I said, it actually takes someone that is intentional about growth, someone that understands how to rule a nation to be able to do all of these things. You talk about insecurity. The fact that they don't have insecurity in their country, it's not like they don't have, but then it's very minimal. The reason why they are at that point is because there's somebody that is ensuring that things like that don't happen. A few weeks back, we talked about, something around people that are using their IT to scam, to collect money. Guess what? The Hong Kong police officers, they did not like wait on that one. They got, if I tell you how much they actually, got from the scammers and all, there's a lot of money. That actually tells you a working country that their city, their president knows what he or she is doing, knows what he's doing because he's a male. Now, there's this other headline I said I wanted to, put out, which is Sympathetic Humanoids at Vanguard of Robot Solutions to Elderly Care. Now, continuation on the fact that there's intentionality when it comes to ruling from the president's angle now. Now, China is showcasing a new wave of intelligent robotics designed to support its rapidly aging population. Now, this includes emotionally aware humanoid robots, self-driving wheelchairs, all aimed at transforming elderly care into a more efficient and empathetic system. Now, robots are being trained to recognize and respond to human emotions, offering not just assistance but also companionship. Now, the technology is expected to reduce pressure on caregivers and boost quality of life for the elderly. Experts believe that this innovation will be essential as China's senior population continues to grow, creating demand for non-traditional caregiving solutions. Are you seeing this dream? No. Let's be for real. Imagine someone coming out. I mean, we already know where they are when it comes to technology. You know where China is when it comes to technology, right?
True.
Now, right now, they are thinking of getting, humanoids robot that looks like human to take care of the elderly. They are getting wheelchairs, self-driven wheelchairs. What the elderly person need to do is to just sit down on it. So I think 2 days ago or so, I was watching a particular video on Instagram where the guy was just being very rash, but then he was putting us through how he was able to enter. What do you call this? I'm trying to get the name for the car. But there's no driver. It's just moving itself. When it gets to traffic lights, it's stopping. We are Nigerians. I mean, it's time for... Thank God we're actually having this conversation later. Because it's literally time for us to start doing... we should reflect and actually know what the way forward is. Because, to be honest, it looks like we are somewhere in the backyard. Where these countries are. Because imagine where they're having a conversation about robotics and they're telling you how they can ensure that, the life of the elderly persons are actually well taken care of before they actually leave this life. Come on now. And here we are still talking about insecurity. That's all I have for you guys today.
Breathe in and breathe out, people. All right. I mean, you've mentioned quite some outstanding innovations from the Western world, and it's expected they're really way ahead of us when it comes to technology and many of these things as well. And I think the way I like to look at this is that it's an example for Nigeria to follow. I don't want to really make us feel like we're in a position that seems like, oh, you can't ever get to this point. It's actually very possible to get there. We've heard of some innovations recently in our country, how that some of even these international bodies want to partner with countries in sub-Saharan Africa, to bring this technology to the footstep of the average man. But I believe it's just a gradual process, and one day we'll get to that point. So, God, Riti, have some hope in your country and in your nation. All these things you're hearing about happening in China, in Hong Kong, in USA, is going to happen one day in our country with intentionality, of course, and having the right people in power. Let's see what the Daily Trust has to say. We see stories here on Benue killings. It says, arrest perpetrators, Tinubu orders security chiefs. Above that, we see World Sickle Cell Day. Patients battle high cost of drugs and access to treatment. Bandit kills 24 farmers and others in Katsina communities. We're still hearing of killings and killings. And the last story here reads, how fake agric credit providers dupe farmers. I don't know how to feel about the Nigerian papers every morning. I think I need therapy at this point.
Well, to be honest, I actually need therapy.
I need someone to sit me down and say, how do you really feel having to look at the papers every morning? We are not even done with the whole Benue story. We're not done with unraveling the chaos that has happened. And I'm seeing here in Katsina communities that bandits have killed 24 farmers again. It looks like the numbers just keeps increasing. Why? What is happening in these areas? At this point, I think we need a 10-day vigil, to supplicate for our nation, because it's really pressing.
To understand what it is in reading, please.
All right, thank you. But before we even go through the whole killing stories and everything, this other one really caught my interest, and that's on the World Sickle Cell Day, because June 19th is actually a day to commemorate, sickle cell disease. So people living with sickle cell disease in Nigeria have lamented that the high cost of medication and poor access to comprehensive care are weighing heavily on them and their families. They also decried the lack of access to new and advanced medical therapies that have been been proven to cure the disease in other countries, such as gene therapy and bone marrow transplants. The patient also said that till date they face neglect and stigma in employment, amongst other challenges. And ahead of this year's World Sickle Cell Day, people suffering from the disease are calling on governments to improve access to healthcare, subsidize essential medications, and strengthen public education on genotype compatibility. The World Sickle Cell Day is commemorated on June 19 every year. They call for the establishment of a national agency for the control of sickle cell disease and a center that exclusively caters for patients. Medical experts have also said that there is need for increased investment and adoption of new therapies for sickle cell disease, such as gene therapy. In high-burden countries such as Nigeria, they said it will go a long way to provide succor for people suffering from the sickle cell disease. And yeah, this is worth talking about. This is worth blowing our horns for, because one thing I think of when I imagine people having to deal or live with sickle cell disease is that it's one disease that they didn't cause for themselves. It's a disease that they were born into, in that sense. It's so congenital, and it's almost like nobody really deserves to have just falling prey into that kind of situation. And we got some news, or it seemed as though it was promising for life extension for these individuals with the new therapies that we have, the new medicine, medical care, bone marrow transplant. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's almost like it's those that have the money that can eventually get access to this. And they've come out to cry and lament. You know, when you use the word lament, there's a difference between crying and lamenting. That this is weighing on them. Imagine somebody living in the outskirts of the mainland of Lagos having sickle cell. How do they want to afford the millions of naira for a bone marrow transplant or the gene therapy or the many things that they've mentioned? And so I think that one major concern that healthcare should have now is how they can pump in some resources, fundings, and money into. There are specific ailments that you know that it cuts across different people, the rich and the poor. Yeah. So at that point, you know that the death rate is also high. True. How can you prevent it? It means that you pump more money into it. I've seen, when I was in school, there are a lot of flyers that would just pass around different departmental group chat telling you, oh, we're trying to raise this amount of money for bone marrow transplant. I think sometimes it's usually done abroad, right? Yeah. But recently, maybe 2 Fridays ago, we discussed that in Nigeria, in Abuja, with collaboration with some other international bodies, we now have a center. I think it's ACMA, I've forgotten the full name. A Aproko doctor came out to do a promotion on it, where we don't have to travel so far to do some of these very critical surgeries and operations, and we can do them here. But at the end of the day, it's still money. Even though it's good news in that sense that at least we have the facility. Before it was a facility problem. Now we have some facilities, at least one that is public, that can handle such things, but the funding for it. So this is where money should be pumped into. All these monies I hear flying across from different embezzlement and this and that. This is where it should be pumped. In fact, if we borrow for this cause, it's a noble cause. I agree. If those big money that we have been borrowing from the beginning of this year, if the president say we want to pump 80% for this cause, it's a noble cause, and you will see that these people will pray for you, because at this point they are lamenting. Yeah. And another thing that the Daily Trust really highlighted here is that apart from these people suffering and not having access to this medical care, there is something else that the outside world is doing to them that is really damning, and that's the fact that there's neglect and stigma in employment, basically, and that is, wow, why should that happen? When did it become a thing where somebody who has sickle cell disease should be denied employment opportunities? That's already stigma. They are going through a number already. Yeah. And then adding the fact that, I don't know how your lifespan is, you can't work with us. It's just the worst. So I think this is a cry for organizations, private organizations, SMEs. Public SMEs. There shouldn't be any any form of, what's it called, segregation, stigma, or whatsoever. The only bill I know that has been passed to, accept, to have that inclusiveness when it comes to people who are disabled. I think it's just disabled people that have some bill. Yeah, so there are particular organizations that they are requested to have some percentage of disabled people in their organization. They fought for that, and it's very outstanding. They fought for it. Before you would hardly see someone who is crippled or in a wheelchair working in a corporate organization. But today, the bill allows them to have some certain percentage. So organizations ought to leave a small space, a small gap that, those who are disabled will work here. Do you understand? So that also means that you will make that center to be friendly for them. If you want to have people who are disabled work in your organization, it means that you have, I don't know what they call this thing, but I think the access should be inclusive as well. So this is a call for two people: the average Nigerians, people who are, employers of labor, normal human beings, people who are students, who are classmates, or people who are dealing with sickle cell disease. They are going through a lot for you to bring stigma into the equation. Do you understand? So what do you have to say about this whole story?
I feel like you're actually on point, really. Shout out to the likes of Madekule Gold, because I see the good things that he does for all of these people. I just hope that, there are a lot of...
As someone who was a warrior himself.
Yes, I think that's even one of the things. But then I like how, he's creating awareness on it. On social media, especially Instagram, you get to see, him talk about it. And I just hope that other people get to see it. To be honest, or to be fair, right, when you hear some SME say that they don't want people people that have sickle cell work with them. Again, they're also looking at the productivity of their work, because, again, you really cannot tell when they will fall sick, when they will be okay and all. So imagine having that person. I feel like what should happen is, first off, most of these people that know that this is what they have and they know when it comes and all, I think they should first off look for the kind of job that actually suits them. Thanks to gig economy, actually. Do you understand? Where you can even be able to work from home without anybody having to stress.
And then shift options as well. They don't always have to come to the office. Apart from that, you can also have access to health care in your organization. Yes. Not even HMO. You can have quick first aid in your office, right? In case there's a crisis or something, quick access to the hospital, something that can show that I'm intentional about helping you as well. Yes. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans. Nobody wanted to have the sickle cell disease.
To be honest.
And again, it was also mentioned here that we should start having more education. Remember that funny story we had one time? I've forgotten this place in the north where, certain laboratories have been forging fake results because they want some people to get married, and then the mosque who was in charge of some marriage proceedings said, no, we're going to do our own again. So at this point, we also need to have education and information, because we see the rise. There was one time we saw the statistics that Nigeria was topping the chart with people that had more sickle cell patients. Let us stop the chat for good things, honestly. And before we wrap up today's conversation, there is this, not conversation, the newspaper stories. The Punch says something here. $457 million unremitted funds, and reps tackle 13 oil firms to recover 86 million naira. This is a very funny story. The House of Rep Public Accounts Committee on Wednesday warned 13 non-compliant oil companies to appear before it to answer questions in the ongoing probe of non-remittance of money due to the federal government or face sanctions. So these companies allegedly owe the federal government about $456.95 million, which is about 731 billion naira in unremitted revenues.
Oh,
Do you know why I wanted to mention this story?
Tell me.
Because at the end of the day, it feels like even though we know the government has their flaws, many flaws, some private organizations or other organizations seems to be doing worse. Imagine having to owe this kind of money, billions of naira, because of what? Unremitted funds or whatever English they've used to pay. It's really appalling, and I'm glad that they've been called to order, else they're going to face sanctions. There was another time we heard again, aircraft seizure. I mean, the high and mighty, it seems like there's a mago that seems to work in that area, and it's not a commendable action at all. We need money as a nation, so imagine your own people owing you the money. It doesn't make sense.
That's why they said the government that we have is a reflection of we, the society. Exactly. Because you, every time you go, they complain saying that government, they do. You too, they do your own. I mean, do me, I do yours. I think that's what's going on here.
Interesting.
Oh, my God.
But that's where we wrap up today's news. If anyone catches their interest, of course, you can head to their website and read more of the stories. But please take a chilled drink when reading the stories because sometimes they're very gory. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we're going to be looking again into the Benue killings. We've titled this one, A Leap into the Future, Benue Killings. Of course, I want to hear your comments, your thoughts about this, and join us in the next few minutes. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back to the show. Today's conversation is one I wish we didn't have to revisit, but silence is not an option. In the past few weeks, the nation has been shaken by yet another deadly attack in Benue State. Over 150 lives were lost in Yelewata Guma local government area, where gunmen suspected to be herders invaded communities overnight, leaving behind a trail of charred bodies, ruined homes, and broken families. And this is not the first, and tragically might not be the last. From the Agatu massacre in 2016 to the Katsina Allah attacks in 2021, Benue has consistently been on the front line of violence despite existing laws against open grazing. Survivors and analysts alike blame poor enforcement, political interference, and weak security coordination. Even the president has admitted to lapses, ordering a crackdown and questioning the absence of arrest. So today, under the theme, A Leap into the Future, Benue Killings, we ask, how did we get here again? What lessons are we refusing to learn? And that's really what I want us to emphasize today. What lessons are we refusing to learn? And more importantly, what would real change look like if we're serious about moving forward? So, Godrich, are you ready for this kind of conversation?
Let's have it.
Let's have it. So, a lot has happened lately. Because you were not here yesterday, I'd just like to hear your own thoughts about this before we go into more pressing things about this. So yesterday, Okike and I were trying to open up influence and crisis with influence, media, and crisis escalation in that sense. And I think it's something that is it happens a lot in this part of our nation, where when there are crises that has to do with the rural environment, not the urban city now, it seems as though people in the urban areas are not even concerned about it. Or it almost looks like because of the media behavior, which is also audience behavior, there's a way these things are just brushed aside. It comes up, it comes up, the news will carry it, stations will talk about it. I mean, many times you even see the, how do you call them now, the conventional newscasters talk about Benue killings, local government areas. And so it's just like one of those sad news that we're used to. But what we're trying to open up yesterday is, people's attitude towards things like this. Yes, we know the government has their own role to play and everything, but how do you think... Now, let us give you more context to the story, because I really want to land in a way that you understand me.
Okay.
So we read again from one of these online influencers, your favorite online doctor,
Okay.
that came out to say when Iran and Iraq had problem, everybody in the world was talking about it, not just an Iran-Iraq thing. That's
Yeah.
because they escalated. It was everywhere in their press, in their blogs and everything. And then if you look through other international bad stories that have happened, you see how they spread it. Then the person mentioned Benue killings, and Nigerian papers are talking about, not Nigerian papers, forgive me, or the media, emphasizes stories like the breakup of one particular influencer or celebrity, and they highlighted one TikTok, frenzy celebrity and like that. And it made me think that maybe sometimes I don't know how to put it, we pay our attention, we are distracted in the sense that we don't know what is pressing part time.
Right.
And that's why sometimes some things even happen to us. I'm not trying to be somehow here. We get distracted, we don't pay attention to what needs to be paid attention to, because we have a selfish, character trait. Someone on her social media put that we're very lucky in the West. We are super lucky. Because if you bring these people from these rural areas to this point, to have some levels of security, in quotes, that we are experiencing, I think the standard of living will even be better. But these people, sometimes they didn't even choose their life. That's why not everybody can be in Lagos or in Abuja or in Port Harcourt or the cities that we call happening cities. People will still be in those areas and they are facing threats. This morning we just saw Kaduna, we're seeing Benue. I hear this a lot coming from that area, the middle belt, northern areas. So it's almost like we are more concerned with other stories. And I think I was saying that maybe because Nigerians at some point, we've gotten used to bad stories, to the point that, another one happened, God go help them, this kind of vibe, and then you are moving on to something else. So I'm just wondering how we can show some national empathy to some of the stories. And I'm going to comment again, like I said yesterday, I'm just reiterating some things I said yesterday. There were some influencers and celebrities that came out to talk about this, even when it's not their niche.
Yeah.
We saw it happen in NSAS. We saw a lot of influencers and celebrities blow their horns with injustice and everything, but it can be more. It doesn't have to be a one-time thing. I was telling you, it doesn't have to be a story thing. That is only on your story you put it and make it feel like you are concerned. It has to, you talk about it too, because it concerns you.
Yeah.
Because the people who lost their lives are your brothers and your sisters.
Yeah.
You're not from Benue, but they are Nigerians that lost their lives. Do you understand? And so what do you think about how, media should escalate things like this in coming times?
So first off, I actually feel like we as a people, I don't want to use the word distracted, because when you use the word distracted, it's more like, it's not really like, I feel like we are intentionally doing that. Because maybe, just like you said, maybe because we've gotten used to, this kind of bad stories. Some people say, don't be the first time now. Do you understand? I think we've gotten used to it. That's one. Then two, I think that most of the time, one of the reasons why we forge ahead to know what's going on probably in the entertainment space is so that probably we don't keep thinking about it. Because look at it critically. For every time we talk about certain things, this is not the first time, not the second, not the third, and probably will not even be the last. We'll have conversation like this to talk about insecurity for the longest of time. But then, what happens? So it's more like, if you just they talk, you go just they vex. So let's probably look for something else to cool ourselves down. I think that's what it is, really. But then coming back to the media, right, I feel like there's something that they do, which is something everybody knows already. Where if something happens in it, just as okay, we have heard about over 150 persons, died in the whole thing that happened in Benue. But then we really don't know these persons. We don't know their names and all. So sometimes it makes it look like we don't know exactly what's going on. Like, it's one thing to tell us that so amount of whatever die. Even though sometimes we actually feel like these numbers are sometimes they just look at it and say, oh, somebody die. Like this, if it be 100. Do you understand? So it might not even be like the real stats. Do you get what I'm saying? So most of the times, given that we don't know the actual names of these persons, given that we don't know the actual names of these persons, I feel like that's one of the reasons why,
it doesn't even show honor in that sense.
To be honest.
It doesn't show honor.
To be honest. And that's also, that coming back to the work of the media, we are supposed to actually know, I know it might be a bit, too much, or, given that there will be so much work that has to be put in it, but then that's why your media, we're supposed to know what exactly went down, who and who. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because then we understand it. But when we just hear the numbers, okay, another number, all right, so let's keep it moving. And speaking of the whole rural thing, right, I said it so many times that maybe this is just me living in Dululu. I don't know what it is exactly, but I feel like we should start getting to that point where we don't start having urban area and rural areas and all of that, because then it now makes it look like there are some places that there's that intentionality in taking care of the citizens that are there compared to the others. Because I mean, look at it very well. When I was having this conversation,
it's a long shot. Do you know why? Because even in developed countries, they still have their slum areas.
I know.
Underdeveloped
But then
areas.
is that not the reason why you have a state government? Come on now. What are you saying? If we have the likes of our governor here in Lagos State do excellent things, ensure that we have investors come to Lagos State to do things, why are other state government not doing that? Exactly. So why exactly is your own state the urban area? Why do we have you there? Why do we have local government? I'm confused. Those are the questions that we need to ask, because you're not doing your job, boy. If you're telling me that a particular place is supposed to be rural, make it make sense to me now. Make it make sense to me.
I get you, and I think that is very profound. So I like how you painted the whole Lagos scenario and comparing it with other. I mean, kudos to the governor of Lagos State, seeing the infrastructure that we're seeing. Even though some criticism is probably will still come up, but it so shows that their intentionality in some sense.
Yes,
and
honestly.
It's a call for, I think I don't know whether there's a governor forum or something, but it's a call for people in other states, especially in high pressure states. It feels somehow having to say this, but there's no point acting like we don't know what's happening. There are some states that are really high pressure, and I don't want to put more pressure on the governor, but pressure is going to be put on you, sir, because you chose to be a governor in that state. You wanted to, help the citizens,
and you
become
said that
better.
you have change. You wanted
exactly.
So we are supposed to be seeing it.
That means they have to do times 10 whatever any other governor in other states are doing, because your state is already high pressure, facing a lot of things, and I'm hoping, I'm actually a very positive person, that maybe we'll start seeing some of this change happen there. So, I have another question for you guys. The newspaper recently have been carrying stuff like, investigate this, investigation, justice, and everything. The topic is the way forward. And when I was thinking about this, I just thought about justice. I was watching some interviews of some of these people that lost their lives. Some of them seemed so helpless, especially families of the bereaved, families of those that have lost their lives, the bereaved in that sense. One came out to say, I lost maybe 2 shops and then almost like 7 family members or so.
Yes.
I was like, what is life again?
And
that broke my heart. Like, nobody should have to go through this, right?
True.
And many other people came out. We saw videos when the president had to visit Benue. I saw some women lined up, crying, wailing, and everything. And it wasn't really a nice sight to see. So, but yeah, we hear about we're investigating. I think it's a buzzword. It happens a lot. We are investigating. At this point, I want to know what the definition of investigation means. Because it is changing. Investigation to me, it seems like as if, there is noise. We talk about it, 1 or 2, then we end it. Because at the end of the day, we don't really get to the, how do I put it? The root cause. There is no justice for these people. So by investigating is not enough, honestly. It's not enough for us to say, yes, there's something being done. If you have used the word in the past and maybe we saw the aftermath of the investigation, we would have gotten more relief. But investigating for somebody that has lost how many family members? What are you investigating, SARS? What exactly is being done? We've heard that, yes, they've deployed some more extra forces and everything. But we're hearing of meetings upon meetings. This doesn't give me the vibe of action being taking place. Because it's easy for us here to use English for, conventional newscasters to say, the investigation is happening now. This is a matter of life and death. Because, I want you to put yourself in this situation. You go report a case of, murder. And the police tells you we're investigating. And that's all you keep hearing.
Don't worry about it, madam.
And that's all you keep hearing. So I want to really ask, what does justice even mean at this point? How can we get justice for people who have lost their families, who have lost their goods and properties? I mean, we said Benue is the food basket of the nation. So we shouldn't even go there. I mean, so that we can have food in this other part of the nation. So a lot of things have even happened. How do we get justice for the people? Because to me, that's the way forward. You can't bring back the dead. You can't bring back over 200 people that have died, but they have families. There were things that were lost. What is justice then for these people?
I mean, I feel like justice will be ensuring, first of all, that the men in question that, you know, cause all of these things, they are behind bars. So, you know, first of, who are they? We are hearing so many stories. I mean, we've heard so many, these people are people outside the country, they're not Nigerians. We've heard stories of, you know, I think some people in the police force or the security, you know, agency and all, saying that there are people that, you know, telling who are they exactly. And I think I was listening to I was here yesterday, I can't remember. But honestly, just like, you know, she was saying, it's one thing to say that this is what's going on. Oh yeah, who are these persons that is actually telling, you know, who are they? Give us their names so we know. Because I feel like that's what happens here in Nigeria. You know, just going back to what happened, you know, with the massive failure in education, where you now heard, the reason for that failure is because, you know, we are trying to ensure that there is exam
practice.
Make it make sense to me. Do you understand? And just like you said, I feel like, thank God for words. And just like I've always said, I love words so much because you are able to put a lot of things just in a word. Honestly, you are able to just throw up, we don't get time, we don't sabi, we don't really get money, and all of that. Just put it inside the investigating box, and you just say, oh, we are investigating. And that's something that we get to see every time. Any small matter, even time, matter when not even concern investigation, you will hear, say, don't worry, madam. We're investigating. That's what we hear. But now, justice right now, the kind of justice that we need for those people, first of all, is to ensure that the reason for the people that cause all of these things are behind bars. And to ensure that things like this don't repeat itself. Because I think there was a story that... I think the video that I watched from VDM, where he was, you know, one person there was saying that the people went to the police station first, you know, before they now started burning other people's houses and all. I don't know how true that is. But we now need to ensure that, you know, the police officers understand what they are doing. They are trained. They have the right tools to ensure that this kind of attacks, they are ready for it. Yeah. Do you understand? These are the kind of things, security, I mean, now, the places that have been, you know, burnt down and all, we need to go there, check what's going on. I mean, that's how you actually know who is ready to, you know, rule this country and who is not, to be honest. And that's how you can actually, you know, ensure that justice is being served in this situation. Then lastly, I would say that, you know, the mental health of all of those people there is not, I mean, I'm very sure it's wherever it is right now. So, I mean, they need therapy at this point. They need to be able to talk how they are feeling. We've seen some videos where they have come out and said certain things. The people that, you know, lost 7, 10, I mean, the numbers are there's so much really. Those are the people that actually need rehabilitation right now. They need to be able to cool off, need to calm down, and, you know, I mean, before they can now start strategizing and thinking of what next for them. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's, you know, my 2 cents.
Ended, pardon me, on that point where you said post-traumatic response, we need to have these people being taken care of, because PTSD is something we use very lightly, but it's a thing, having to see someone go through things like this. So justice to me for these people, like you've rightly mentioned, is having the perpetrators put behind bars. And it will happen if you intentionally fish out these people. Some reports have said that it's not unlikely that some of these faces can be known. Do you understand? I mean, it's not unlikely. Take community. How far could they have gone? There is always one intel somewhere that can really help us with this. It was strategic enough. And that's why the police force is there and whatever strategic arm is there. That's their duty. The average Nigerians can't give you the solution to that. That's why you were trained as a police officer, as a security agent to help us in situations like this. So having to say, oh, they don't really know who these people are, nah, that's a story that is not really selling for us. So the first thing is to ensure that these perpetrators are brought to book, to ensure accurate compensation to the people that have lost their lives. Some influencers came out on social media to say that at this point, what you could do is to, you know, dispatch or, I mean, put out some aids in that sense, material aid to some of these people because they lost their shops, they lost their homes, they lost money, they lost certain things that can even help them. So apart from saying you are investigating, you don't need them to be hungry because that is going to be another death, another death toll in that sense. So what compensation is being put? I even suggest that they are moved to another area, especially those that were directly affected. I saw pictures of some people in the hospitals, those that sustained minor injuries and everything. Their family members, where are they? They should be moved to some place safe, a harbor. Do you understand? That can help them till they're able to come back into the society. And this is where post-traumatic responses would make sense. I know this thing I've just mentioned, this last part, is not a Nigerian thing. We don't see what is post-traumatic. They just feel like, don't worry, this won't happen to you again. But there is something such as post-traumatic response to situations like this. Let's ensure that we, also as well, sending aids to people, private organizations that cater for mental health can go here to volunteer, to speak to these people, to show care. And this is where religious organizations too can put their own, everybody has a role to play. If you look at it very critically. We can wait for the government and everything. They should do the critical ones, but everybody has a role to play. The community has a role to play. Distant family members. This is not the time to say, I can't go to Benue. It's a high-risk state. If you have people that are there, even though they are not in communities that are directly affected, you can take them out. I don't know how to explain it, but intentionality in care for these people. We're wrapping up very quickly, but there's also something that I wrote out here that we really need to start honoring victims and people who have lost their lives.
Yes.
It's honor. It's honor. The Western world do
Especially in cases like this.
They do it a lot. If it's a celebrity that lost their lives, or maybe somebody of high influence in the society, the media will carry their full names and everything. But these people that lost their lives, they weren't invisible. They are people that are living, that have... With the less of honor that we can give to them is to even have their names recognized. And I'm not sure this is happening yet. If it is, we should be louder, because if it is loud, I would have seen it. Do you understand? So it's not just numbers that we want to see. People lost their lives. It's like a massacre. The best the nation can do is to honor these people, but let's even know their names. Do you understand? And then somebody has been speaking about how to strengthen, what's it called now? Community security in that sense. In some of these states that are high risk. And there have been some controversies that it's going to lead to chaos. Imagine having to equip youths and younger people with guns and, take care of yourself before the local police can come in. It's not really the best of option. Let the local police or the trained security agent do it. It's almost like saying vigilante is good, but it has its bad. And at this point, I'm wondering if this is something that we could look at, very critically. Because if you look at it, at the end of the day, before the first call of response when there is danger, the first instinct is to save yourself, right? Yes. And some of the people that lost their lives, I'm sure a number of them were women and children. Yes. How accessible is the police station? How accessible are the local police people, the security agents to that place? So at this point, while we're waiting for our security to get better, it means that this is one way to invest properly in the local, what they call them, vigilantes that we have around. We see them in some communities, and we've heard of stories how these people, they can really be ruthless as well. You can't infiltrate their community anyhow. But a community that is so far from the local police and far from a quick aid from the security agent, how can we help them develop their, local vigilante force in that sense, so that in case of emergencies like this, at least we won't hear of death, so even though there'll still be death, because when chaos jam, there will always be death. But at least the death toll will reduce. Do you think this is something that we can look at?
Yes, I think it's something that we can actually, explore. There are some, just like you said, there are some communities that already have, this vigilante group doing wonders. And I remember there was one time I told you about my friend, how she kept her generator outside, and I was, Auntie, AJ, you do, not be another place. These people, they would, and so I know, she trusts the, the vigilante people that she has around there. And they have actually even told her that this place, they need to steal for this place. And to be honest, it's not something that we actually were supposed to be speaking about if we have the right people on set, to be honest. Yes, because that's your job. But then, given that, there's a lot of people. Yeah. No, for real.
It sounds funny. It sounds like a very funny solution. Not funny. Because there are many ways to look at it. But let me hear you.
It's not funny at all. I see, at this point where it's just like when your house is catching fire. You will not say, oh, you're waiting for the government to come and do something. You have to do something by yourself. And given the situation that it is right now, I mean, I think at this point, everybody has to be extra careful. First of all, do everything possible to ensure that you yourself, you are safe, your family is safe, your neighbors are safe. I feel like once we start putting all of those things in practice, then, I mean, anytime that the government, they are less busy, they can now probably start putting out other measures. If not, I actually believe that we can actually do something.
Yeah, I believe that we can do something, and it starts from funding them. Some of them are very under-equipped. They don't even have the equipment. So even if they are trying with their hearts to say we're fighting for our community, if you're not equipped, these bandits would waste the entire community again. So I think at this point, it won't be out of place. Even though it looks like some critics will say, imagine having to give arms to untrained security agent, because many at times it's not like they are the trained police force themselves. They're just people in the community that they feel like, oh, you can be the first call to action when there is danger. And we've said a number of things, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping that this kind of story serves as a lesson to us as a nation, a major lesson to us, to ensure that we don't have recurrence of this. It's sad already that the newspaper already mentioned that in Kaduna, some people were still killed again, herdsmen story. We didn't even talk about the role. It's sad that security officials are being questioned. People who are supposed to be at the forefront of ensuring your safety, there is some suspicion that some of them were giving intels to these people. So at this point, we need a lot of scrutiny in that police force.
Yes.
We've spoken a lot about it. We know that there are the good ones there, but the bad eggs keep making things even worse.
I agree.
So part of the solution that we're looking for and the justice is to ensure that whilst you are looking for the people that committed this crime, you have to search your own house and be sure that it is very clean, firstly. So this is a call to action to everyone. And in the end, a leap into the future can't just be about policies or promises. It must be about protecting lives. If we can't guarantee safety in our villages, then what future are we leaping into? As always, we'll continue to ask the hard questions because every Nigerian life should count. And thank you for lending your voice to this conversation, God's beauty.
Thank you
and
so much,
I'm hoping for something positive tomorrow and throughout the rest of this week. I'm still carrying my mood to my house, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a very overwhelming one. To our viewers, thank you for joining us in this important discussion. Ensure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are committed to ensuring that we don't sweep stories under the carpet, but provide, valuable information and intervention in that sense. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow us on all our social media platforms. Remember to like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch us and follow us. Have a wonderful day ahead and see you tomorrow. Bye.